By the way, if you'd really like to know, he went that way.
Who did?
The White Rabbit.
He did?
He did what?
Went that way.
Who did?
The White Rabbit.
What rabbit?
But didn't you just say? Oh dear.
It was never so much a matter of if Walt Disney would bring Alice's Adventures in Wonderland to the big screen, but when. A longtime fan of the Lewis Carroll stories, Walt had already overseen multiple takes on the classic nonsense tale. One of his earliest projects involved sending a young girl named Alice into an animated Wonderland. The Alice comedies, produced in the 1920s, were Walt's first attempt to mix live-action characters with animation. Is it just me, or is it weird to see Walt Disney in a silent film? My brain can't seem to fathom that a man who created an entertainment empire that endures to this day was already crafting films in the silent era. It just seems crazy. After the Alice comedies, Walt would take Mickey Mouse to Wonderland in the 1936 animated short Through the Mirror. And while Walt would register the title Alice in Wonderland with the Motion Picture Association of America in 1938, we wouldn't see the film for another 13 years after that. Incidentally, it would be Disney's 13th animated feature, and just the third time a female character was cast as the lead. A tradition that wouldn't really explode until the second golden age of Disney animation. Unlike Snow White and Cinderella before her, Alice was no princess. While I think she comes across as a mostly likable character, she's not without her flaws. Walt Disney admitted that she wasn't a very sympathetic character. It was hard to get behind her. He also felt the film lacked warmth and humor. So despite its stunning visual style, incredible animation, and brand new take on a literary classic, Alice in Wonderland bombed at the box office, losing the studio upwards of $1 million. And yet Alice would not only endure, but become what many consider one of Disney's all-time greatest films. But before we decide which side of that mushroom to take a bite of, my name is Jay. That is unfortunately not how you spell Lewis Carroll's name. And this is Walt Disney's Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, Mr. Disney, everyone's here now. How about that surprise you promised?
Okay, Kathy. Hey, everybody, attention. Now comes a big surprise.
Oh.
Oh, slave in the magic mirror, come from the farther space.
How hammy can you get? Do you girls know this character, Disney?
Yes, he's our father.
Oh. Ooh.
We've all had that moment when you have friends over at your house and your dad is trying to be funny.
Oh, slave in the magic mirror, come from the farther space.
Of course, when your dad is Walt Disney, you let it slide. 20 million people tuned in on Christmas Day 1950 to watch Disney promote his upcoming release of Alice in Wonderland. It was still several years before the debut of the ABC television show Disneyland, and it's great to watch Walt ham it up in a way he never quite replicated on that show. In addition to Walt and his daughters, we had the new star of Alice in Wonderland, Catherine Beaumont, who would also go on to star in Disney's next animated film, Peter Pan. Odd that Disney would give us back-to-back films questioning the reality and trustworthiness of adults. There are actually 3 of the voice actors from Peter Pan in this show. Along with Beaumont, who played Wendy, you have Bobby Driscoll, who voiced Peter Pan, as well as Captain Hook himself, Hans Conried. And if you'd like to check out my video about Peter Pan, I'll put a link in the description below. Now, as I already mentioned, Alice in Wonderland was far from a hit upon its initial release, even with this lively 1-hour TV special. Many complained that it wasn't a faithful adaptation of Lewis Carroll's stories, especially viewers in the UK who accused Disney of Americanizing a great work of English literature. But that was exactly what Walt was trying to do, even rejecting multiple scripts that were too close to the original stories.
Well, as you can imagine, we're all steamed up out here over Alice in Wonderland. It's always a challenge bringing a great story classic to the screen, giving visual form to characters and places that have only existed in the imagination. But it's the kind of challenge we enjoy.
I'll be upfront and tell you that I have never read the books, so I'm not here to draw comparisons. That being said, when you start to deviate from the original, the biggest issue that usually pops up is in the story. And for me, that's where Alice falls the flattest. There is no story. A girl falls asleep during a school lesson, has a series of fantastical dreams, and then wakes up. Is there more to the movie than that? Of course there is. There's alienation, social absurdity, loss of childhood innocence. There is a lot of subtext. But for a kid, there's the simple joy of bright colors, wacky characters, and silly songs. And since we're here, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Or better yet, the white rabbit in the room.
One pill makes you larger, and one pill makes you small.
We've all heard the stories about how this film's popularity spiked in the 1960s and early 1970s due to its, psychedelic nature. It was college students in particular who made Disney take notice of the film again, after it became the studio's most requested 16mm rental on campuses across the US. So much so that Disney pulled all of those rentals and reissued the film in theaters in 1974. Without a doubt, one of the most interesting movements in the counterculture era. But it brought the movie back into the eyes and minds of a new generation. More importantly, it positioned the film to make a killing in the home video market, becoming one of Disney's top-selling VHS tapes of the 1980s. Already a huge hit with teens and college students, parents would also come to recognize it as safe but strange entertainment for their kids. What's funny is that Disney selected Alice to be released on VHS because it wasn't considered a top-tier classic like Snow White or Cinderella, meaning the studio was less worried about devaluing it through a home video release. Instead, the opposite occurred, and suddenly Alice in Wonderland was one of Disney's biggest hits. So let's take a look back at what propelled this film from forgotten flop to beloved classic. I mean, outside of the drugs. First and foremost, and yes, if you're familiar with this channel, you knew this was coming, let's talk about the music. Featuring some of the most memorable tunes in Disney history, and a score by Oliver Wallace that was nominated for an Academy Award, the music carries the film. Alice in Wonderland features a staggering 15 original songs, at least. You could make an argument that there are more. No other Disney animated film even comes close. Beauty and the Beast, 6 songs. Frozen, 8. Moana comes closest with 10, but Alice is in a league of its own. And there could have been even more. Some 30 different songs were written for the film, including a deleted song called Beyond the Laughing Sky that would be repurposed for Peter Pan.
Is that the magic music from beyond the laughing sky?
Taking a look at the cast, it is loaded with names that you'll find scattered throughout the Disney film library. This would be the first of 7 films that Ed Wynn would do for Disney, and surprisingly, the only animated one. He would appear in a bevy of Disney live-action classics like The Absent-Minded Professor, Mary Poppins, and That Darn Cat, before closing out his career with The Gnome-Mobile.
Now don't lose your head, girl. Back there. Go line up now.
I did a video on that one too. There's Disney legend Sterling Holloway making his star turn as the mischievous Cheshire Cat. Holloway had already voiced Mr. Stork from Dumbo,
Must be right around here somewhere.
had a brief appearance as the grown-up flower in Bambi,
Hurry up, Bambi.
Yes, Papa.
before finding his way to the mesmerizing python Kaa in The Jungle Book.
Trust in me.
Of course, I think we can all agree that his most recognizable role would be that of a certain pondering Pooh Bear.
I haven't thought of anything, have you?
We have Bill Thompson as both the White Rabbit and the Dodo. He also starred as Mr. Smee in Peter Pan, Jock the Scottish Terrier in Lady and the Tramp, and King Hubert in Sleeping Beauty. J. Pat O'Malley was another actor with multiple characters in Alice, including Tweedledee and Tweedledum, as well as the Walrus and the Carpenter. O'Malley also played Cyril Proudbottom in The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, both Jasper and Colonel in 101 Dalmatians, Buzzy the Vulture in Colonel Happy in The Jungle Book, and one of my favorite childhood characters, Otto the Blacksmith from Robin Hood. Turning things over to the ladies, we have the irreplaceable Verna Felton.
And ladies, healthful food should be delicious.
Who has played no less than 4 elephants, 2 fairies, 1 completely unhinged queen, and your least favorite Disney aunt of all time.
Merciful heavens! My darlings, my precious pets! Oh.
That brings us to Alice herself, Catherine Beaumont.
Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. That's what every bride should do.
Too British, she's supposed to be an American kid.
But Grandmother, how can one possibly be too British?
Ironically, a 1954 Cosmopolitan article noted that Beaumont secured the role of Alice because she had a British accent that wasn't too British. In pairing her sweet, innocent voice with Milt Kahl's legendary character design, you end up with what is quite possibly the most charming Disney character of all time. Now, even Walt recognized that Alice didn't have much of a story, so he leaned on his animators to bring the story to life through their art. One of my absolute favorite scenes is when Alice, who apparently must eat or drink anything if it's labeled properly, finds herself lodged inside the home of the White Rabbit, who was also animated by Milt Kahl. The stage technicians at Disney built a scale model house so the animators could study how Beaumont moved while stuck inside. This was part of the pre-production process where Disney shot the entire film in live action on a soundstage over a period of about 2 years. It allowed Walt and his directors to test pacing and staging early on, making changes before investing in expensive animation. Catherine Beaumont recalled filming in full costume for months, interacting with props like doors, tables, and puppets that stood in for Wonderland characters. After animation wrapped, the live-action film was sadly destroyed, but a few clips did survive. One such clip was Ed Wynn's performance during the Mad Tea Party.
Mustard, yes, but mustard? Don't let's be silly.
Walt was such a fan of this performance, which Wynn had ad-libbed but then couldn't replicate in the recording studio, that he had his team painstakingly clean up the audio so it could be used in the movie. Most of the Tea Party sequence was animated by Ward Kimball, with assistance from Cliff Nordberg and John Lounsbury. Speaking of Lounsbury, he would handle quite a few different characters in the film, including the Cheshire Cat, the Caterpillar, the Walrus and the Carpenter, as well as Rose and the Flowers.
Sound your A, Lily.
Almost. Frank Thomas, who along with Eric Larson handled most of the animation for the Queen of Hearts, said he drew inspiration while, of all things, playing in a Dixieland jazz band. The Firehouse 5+2 was a group made up entirely of Disney studio artists, including Frank on the piano and fellow animator Ward Kimball on the trombone. During a live performance on Catalina Island, Frank was captivated by a lady dancing in the audience, who managed to act both dainty and brash at the same time.
Now, where do you come from and where are you going?
Well, I'm trying to find my way home.
Your way? Always here are my ways.
All in all, Alice in Wonderland features some of the most memorable and recognizable characters of all time, and the animation team played a huge part in that. Even beyond the film itself, Alice has carved out quite the legacy. It's the only movie with 2 rides at Disneyland, the Mad Tea Party as well as the Alice in Wonderland Dark Ride. Did you know that Catherine Beaumont actually narrates that ride? I mean, she even does the safety spiel. I love it. Her inclusion is certainly a big part of what makes it an absolute Disneyland classic. Alice is also the only movie to have a Disneyland bathroom themed after it. At least I think so. I mean, I can't think of any others, but if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. Similar to Pete's Dragon, the film was bolstered by its inclusion in the Main Street Electrical Parade.
I do hope you won't disappear as quickly as the Cheshire Cat did.
I would be willing to guess that a lot of kids from the 70s might have known this version of the song long before they ever heard the original. And of course, Disney would bring in Tim Burton for the highly successful 2010 live-action remake. I was never a huge fan of this film, the darker tone and muted color palette, lack of any songs. But it made $1 billion, so what do I know? Alice in Wonderland began as Walt Disney's dream of bringing nonsense to life, showing us a world where up is down and right is wrong. The film may have stumbled at first, but perhaps that's fitting. So did Alice.
Goodbye, Dinah. Goodbye.
So until next time, my name is Jay. Thanks for watching.